Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. My name is wAFF and this is my Quiet Place 2 review. First of all, I just want to say straight off the bat that I absolutely loved this film. I absolutely loved it. It gave me everything I wanted, especially from a sequel. Like, my expectations were met. It gave me everything that I felt like I wanted to get from the film, and also I felt like it just delivered exactly what the sequel should be. It was basically everything I wanted, and I was just so happy being in the cinema and watching this film and just feeling like I was back there in the suspenseful world of A Quiet Place, but it was part 2. Just before we go ahead, I want to let you know that this is a non-spoiler review. I'll do my best to try and not ruin anything for you. But yeah, so with that being said, I feel like although it's a part 2, it kind of is like the same thing as the first film. Of course, the storyline is still set on that exact same thing as the first film. You know, they're in this really fucked up reality where aliens have come down onto planet Earth. We don't know why, but they basically respond to sound and they have to be quiet. Any sound will alert these aliens, and they're just so destructive, and they're actually really scary and intense. And if you make any noise, they're going to be there in minutes, even less than that, seconds. They're going to be there. So this film really does an amazing job at making you feel that and feel the suspense and the tension of this world, and that's why I think this film does so well, because there's hardly any dialogue, and the whole film is so suspenseful. The tension that you actually feel in this film, for me personally, is amazing. Like, I don't feel like I've had that from any other film before, not that I remember, and that's why A Quiet Place stands out to me so much, is because the actual level of tension and suspense that this film gives you is just amazing. Like, I'm not even joking, I was sat in the cinema just like this the whole way through it, just tense. My friend next to me, Tanya, she was squirming and doing like backward somersaults all over the chairs because she just couldn't sit still. It was too much for her to like handle, and that excitement was something special, I feel like, in a cinema to have. And yeah, I just remember being sat there just being like, this is sick. I'm loving it. I was so invested in this. And I also feel like the first film, A Quiet Place, did such a good job to make you invested into the family. Emily Blunt is just, I think she's a great actress altogether. I actually love her and everything. And I think she does such an amazing job at being the mother in this film. I forget the actual characters' names now. I'm not going to pretend I know everything because I don't. But Emily Blunt is just incredible in this. As well as all the kids. Millicent Simmons, who plays the deaf daughter, she's amazing. To say that she doesn't even speak and she just uses sign language, she does such a good job, and I think this is why this film's so great, because there isn't really any dialogue. There is dialogue, but it's very limited. Just a lot of the film takes place with just through emotions and just how they express their emotions and just how they are in the world, and they do such a good job. And even in this film, the boy played by Noah Jupe, he's amazing. Like, he's incredible. Stuff happens to him in this film that's really, really fucked up, and you feel for him, and you're like, whoa, this is like what they got. Now that this has happened, how are they gonna even get through this world? Like, how are they gonna survive? And things happen, without saying anything else, but like, things happen that make you really feel the dread and the how much this family is gonna need to do to survive. Like, it's kind of impossible for them, and I feel like this film does an amazing job, and the first film as a whole, both of these films, but in particular, because it's A Quiet Place 2 review, this film does an amazing job in making you feel the suspense and dread for the family. And yeah, I just think that's great. You know, some films you don't even care for the people that are in it because they don't do a good job at making you feel any sympathy for the characters or what might happen to them. But this film, for me, I think you feel that for every single character. You know that these people are probably not going to survive, and you actually feel bad and sad about it, and you want them to survive, that you really are rooting for them, and that's why this film is so great. We're also introduced to a new character who's played by Cillian Murphy, which is great. I love Cillian. I think he called it Cillian or Killian. Let's say Cillian. Cillian. Anyway, his character is a new character he's brought in. He has some things that happened to him in his past, which we get introduced to, and obviously we're in this crazy world, things happen, and he's introduced in a way that is needed. He is needed in this film, and he has a really big role to play, to be fair. His character is definitely a huge part of this film. Kind of almost more than Emily Blunt. She kind of gets pushed, her character gets pushed to the side slightly, not too much. She still has a lot of shit to do. Things happen, and she's, you know, she's great in this film. But, you know, the story does change. You know, it becomes focused more on the characters going off and doing their thing. Like, they have to go and do things. Everybody's having to go off and do their own things, and you have to follow each person's little journey as to what they have to do. And, you know, they have all these difficult challenges ahead of them. And this film is different in that sense, because the first film was basically focused on this family being together inside their house whilst these aliens are coming in and basically just tearing up their life. Where this film, you know, everybody has to go off and do their own little adventures, and it's, you know, it's really challenging for everybody, and it's really, really tense. I'm telling you right now, if you sit through this film and you don't feel tense, then you've got no soul. The monsters in this film are exactly the same monsters from the first film. We do get to see them often, but what I also liked about this film is that they don't spend too much time focusing on the monsters. They're there, they're in the background, they're fucking shit up, they're eating people, they're destroying everything, and they really, really are menacing. They're scary monsters, and I like that about this film, is because sometimes when these films create these new creatures, sometimes they don't really feel that scary, and the designs aren't really too good, but I really do love the design of these monsters. I don't know if I'm sure they have a name. I don't know what the names are, but I really think they are scary and they are intimidating. And the fact that they only respond to sounds, I think, is a really cool idea. And I don't know if I mentioned this before, but the fact that this world, you can't make a noise, I don't think this has been done before in a movie. I haven't seen any other horror film or thriller where it's like this, where you can't make a noise, and if you make a noise, you're gonna die. There are other films that have this concept, like Don't Breathe, that's one that comes to mind. You know, they've got to be quiet, there's a guy who's blind, and he's gonna murder you if you make a noise, and, you know, it's kind of similar, but I don't know. I just feel like A Quiet Place does stand out as its own identity, and it definitely has a lot of tension and fear in there because you can't make a noise. And I just love that. I think it's just a great concept. Also, another thing that I really did like about this film is it gives you kind of like an insight and some answers as to what's going on and how it happened, and it gives you a bit of a prequel at the very beginning. It's like, it's very short, maybe 10 minutes, but it's an amazing opening sequence. I loved it, and it just kind of shows you what happened in the world before the aliens came and invaded, and it's very brief, but it's just enough to get you to understand it. It doesn't reveal too much. You don't really necessarily need to know anything other than what they show you. I mean, you can ask loads more questions, like where are these aliens from, like how are they actually here and stuff, but it doesn't need to reveal all of that. It just needs to show you a little bit of what the world was like, how they've leaded into this point, and that's kind of it, and that's all it does. And I think that they did a perfect job with that. And that's another thing about this film. I feel like the pacing's great. It kind of gives you like moments of like peacefulness, but it's never too long before it gets crazy again and before it gets really intense. And it does things throughout the film that make you realize that just nobody's safe at all. Even if you're not faced with these monsters, there is still shit in this world that's gonna fuck you up. And yeah, it just makes you feel like this world is so hostile, even without the monsters now, because this world's, you know, they've been existing in this reality now for quite some time. I don't know how long it actually was from the day. Actually, I think it's 490 days or something like that since the aliens invaded. So, you know, it's been over a year. The world's changed, people have changed, people are not like they used to be, and we get a glimpse into this world, and it is completely fucked up, and that's great, because I like that. Honestly, guys, like, if you enjoy thriller or horror, then, and you haven't seen A Quiet Place, then definitely just go and watch A Quiet Place 1, and then go to the cinema, or just wait till this comes out on whatever, and then just go and watch this film too, because it is amazing. It's an amazing film. I love both of them. I can't wait for the second one to be released, because then if you watch the first, you can literally go straight from the first film into the second, and it follows on. The second follows on exactly where the first one leaves off, and that's what I think is a great thing as well, because you can just watch this now from the first right through to the end of the second, and it's just one whole massive film. There's no gap between, and it also just gives you a bit more and gives you a bit of insight as to like what things were like before it. And it's just, I don't know, I feel like this is an amazing film. The writer and director is John Krasinski, and he is actually the father in A Quiet Place and A Quiet Place 2. He plays the role of the father, and this is his first film I think he's ever written and directed, and if that's actually a thing, this is the first film he's directed and written, then he's amazing. Like, he is amazing anyway. If you watch this, you're gonna know that this guy who filmed this, who directed this, sorry, and written this is incredible. Some of the cinematography in this film is just amazing. How it's shot, it just feels so well done. Like, it's such a solid film. But yeah, like the fact that he's wrote these films and directed them is such an amazing thing. I just want to see more from him. If this is the standard of film that he's making and writing, then I want to see more from this guy, because it really is such a great film, and I just want to see more. I don't care if it's a different genre. I mean, if he sticks to this genre, this horror thriller vibe, then I'll be more than happy with that. But I'd be interested to see what else he does, because so far I'm loving all the work that he's done. So yeah, it's just a really cool thing that he actually plays the role of the father, and also he is Emily Blunt's husband in real life. So it's a cool little thing to know about the film. So all in all, guys, this film is a solid film. It's great. If you love horror or thriller, you're going to love this film. I absolutely loved it. There's no faults in this film for me. There was nothing in this film that I kind of didn't like. There was no negatives. I feel like everything was perfect. The pacing, the acting, the world, the story, the things that happen, just the tension and the what you feel in this film and how it ends, and just what I felt in this film. And my whole experience is an amazing film, and I will give this film a 9 out of 10. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the review. This is my very first review I've ever done. I'm going to try and keep this up and do as many reviews as possible. Sometimes it's difficult because I'll watch films with friends and then, you know, days go by and you kind of forget what's going on. But I just came out of the cinema like last night and did this. So, you know, I've kind of got a fresh memory of it. So, yeah, please, guys, if you did stay to the end of this video and you did enjoy my review, then please hit the like button, give me a thumbs up. That would be amazing. It would be nice to know how many people enjoyed this. And, yeah, if you guys do enjoy my videos and you want to stay updated with my content, then please hit the subscribe button, and thank you so much for watching my videos, and I'll be seeing you next time on wAFF World.